Welcome to the show your parents, the PTA, and the asleep don't want you to hear. The heliosblog. Today, well, this girl has big problems with submission. This should be fun.
The reason she's alone is because she's difficult.
Women are not accepting the bare minimum.
Women fuck men they respect.
All the women who say things like, I'm strong, independent, I don't need no man, like, y'all impress me.
Women just gaslight each other and say what they want to hear.
With a woman submitting to a man.
I just don't, I understand, there can be scenarios, there are scenarios, intimacy and stuff like that. There are scenarios where, that can be a thing, but, I don't know why, it wouldn't be valued, an opinion on, say, you said, a debate on something, what fruit is, I don't know, you can't really debate on fruit because that's, objective, but, something that is subjective.
But even a thing which is subjective. So from the context that I'm looking at it at, I don't believe that there's any two consciousness which exist. Consciousnesses. It's a joke. Kidding. Trying to lighten the mood. I don't think that there's ever going to be two people who come into contact where one doesn't ultimately end up dominating the other to some degree. I don't even believe that that's possible. I don't think that there's ever going to be a such thing as true equality between two people ever. I don't even think that such a thing is a possibility. So if you're in a relationship with another person, one person is going to be the dominant head. Why would that person not logically be the person who is physically stronger and the person who has to go and make the bread and make the financial choices for the household? That seems to kind of track and follow. The protector is going to be the person who ultimately is looked at as the leader and the leader of the household. So why shouldn't the woman submit to him?
Here's what I would be interested in hearing is what would you define as
can you let her answer real quick?
Oh, sure.
Just real quick.
So I would say for that.
Can't answer the question.
So that's that. My issue with that is you don't value my opinion on you said financial decisions, right?
That's not true.
But you said you're the dominant, you're the end all be all. And so
I think, I think you're making a conflation. It's not that. So for instance, I'm married. I value my wife's opinion, but what if we're having a conflict and I don't agree with her? If I say, look, I don't agree. I think right now it's the time for our family to take risk. And you don't think it's time for our family to take risk. While I value your opinion, your input, ultimately the decision falls on me to make that choice. And so I'm going to lead our family towards risk, let's say, or less risk. Let's say she says, I want to do something which is more risky to our finances. Ultimately, that falls on me to make that choice. There's only going to ever be one person who is the head, whether it's the woman or the man. I just think that it seems to be preferable that the man is the head. Women seem to prefer it, and men seem to prefer it.
So you're saying if you guys have a disagreement, you're the end decision?
Of course.
Indeed.
That's why I wanted to know how you define submission, because I do have a thought I'd like to share, but I'd like to hear your definition of it first so I know where we're coming from.
I would say it would probably be at the end of the day, that's the final.
Who has the final
that's
say?
That's the final thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In that sense, real quick, I would just say you can think about it just think about a platonic relationship though, you and your friend. I understand in this scenario you're not talking about that. But, in you and someone you really respect, if you want to think about someone you respect and think about it in that type of way, I don't understand how you can respect that person and have them always submit to your final decision.
So women are consensus seekers, you see. So because they're consensus seekers, they don't understand, right, this concept of submission. I mean, with friends anyway, it's not like friend 1 says we're doing this and friend 2 is like, yup. I mean, unless there's some underlying strategy going on. Anyway.
How can you still respect that person, though?
Okay.
Why is it? Well, that's like, let me kind of give you an easy counter to this. I have children. I respect my children, but they're going to adhere to my word, whether I respect them or not. If I think that they're doing something, they're fucking up in some way. For instance, let's say they want to put their hand in their fire. I'm not going to respect them enough to let them do that. They're going to respect me instead, and they're not going to put their hand in the fire regardless of what they want. I don't care what they want. They're going to do what they're told because it's for their safety, and that's what's going to happen. What's wrong? Well, what's actually wrong with that? What is the problem with me? Are you saying I don't respect them because I won't let them make decisions which are bad for them?
I think what she's...
Wait, hold on. Actually, let me just devil's advocate this. Yeah, but Andrew, women aren't children.
The thing is, though, is that the whole night we've been hearing about how women are infantilized and they have to shave their body hair so that they could be more like... But that aside, we'll let that go for a second. The point and principle here is not whether or not women are children. I agree that they're not. And I don't infantilize women. I think that they are perfectly capable of making decisions and be held to account for those decisions. But the point still stands that if I see anybody who's fucking up and doing something which is against their own interest, and I'm responsible for their interests, then it falls as a duty to me to step in and do something about that. And that includes my wife, that includes my children, that would include my brother, my sister, anybody who's an extension of my family, wouldn't it?
But how do you
trust?
How do you know that you have the best?
It doesn't come down to trust. It comes down to who can. It comes down to who can. And so the thing is that there are those who can and there are those who can't. Ultimately, in a family dynamic, men can do things women can't do, and women can't do very much men can't. And that is the truth. You may not like that truth, but all I would ask you to do to disprove this is tell me a thing which you think that women are going to generally be better at than men inside of a home setting. I'd like to know what that is, but I can name for you many things men are going to generally be much better at than women.
Give birth.
Okay, yeah.
So their primary edict? The thing which I agree is their primary function? Well, you really got me with that one.
I know.
So over here, can you give me the example?
Trying to be nice to you.
Example?
She gave him a layup.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted you to hit, a home run, so to speak.
Yeah, well, that was quite the home run. But anyway, back over to you, Red. I say that because I don't remember names. It's nothing personal. But red hair, can you tell me what you think that women are going to be more dominant in the household than men? What they're going to be more skilled at, better at?
Like in an average sense, if we're talking about like in society, what averagely they would be maybe excelling in.
Yeah. What are they going to be better at?
Maybe consoling. Maybe consoling children.
Word.
Maybe I would.
Sorry, I got mesmerized. Usually it's infant care, right? Usually infant care.
Also, I don't know though, because I feel like there's different. I know both circumstances where some women are shut down emotionally towards their children and some men aren't. So there's roles reversed in certain.
Well,
ways.
I guess ultimately we can reduce it to: do you think that women are better at leading households than men? That's the question.
No, I think no.
No. And so, it really comes down to that. Men are better at leading households. And because of that, generally women need to submit.
I got to move it on.
Okay,
move it on.
I have a really
Quick.
big thing I've been waiting on. Okay, so basically, if you're going to trust the man to have your best interests at heart and in mind, you better be darn sure before you get into that situation, all right? So don't marry the guy if his character is not the character that you can know beyond the shadow of a doubt
I don't
that
think you
he
can,
would have.
though.
Yes, you can. Give it enough time and you'll see. But the other thing I was going to say earlier is that actually the scriptures, talking about Christianity, the scriptures talk about the wife submitting to her husband as the head of the family and everything, right?
Are you religious?
No.
But I just
I
want
don't think that's going to work on her.
Well, I just wanted to tell her this because this is important. It goes to the question she had about submission. And the very next scripture that people don't talk about is it talks about being submissive to each other. It's talking to the same married couple, and the man is supposed to be selfless, give his life for his wife. And that's how committed he is. And the wife is supposed to give respect to her husband and submit to his final say, and then you're supposed to submit to each other. So that goes to what your question was, well, what if she disagrees?
No, you're not supposed to submit to each other.
In that way. Yes, that's what the scripture says. Submit
Yeah, what
to one
scripture?
another.
What scripture? No, I'm not going to let you back off of this.
in
What
1
scripture do you think it says they should? So I'm going to read you some scripture.
It's in 1 Corinthians. So...
Yeah,
If
no,
the woman- hang on,
that's
please.
not what it
I'm
says.
still speaking. Hold
And
on.
here, I'm going to
Hold
help
on. You can.
Yeah, I know
can,
you're speaking,
No,
and
you
I'm
can.
speaking to
No,
you.
but you can wait until I made my point, and then you can correct me,
Andrew,
just
just
like
let-
you
Yeah,
ask other people
I can
to
correct
do.
you now too.
Just
So
like
when
you,
you're talking about
just like you
submission,
ask
you
other
made a
people
big
to
error
do.
here.
You can give me the same respect
I'm
as what
sorry, are
you've
you
been
supposed to
asking
correct men
other
when it
people.
comes to theology?
Hey,
Are you supposed to correct men when it comes to
I am
theology?
Lots of submissive problems here. Lots of submission problems.
speaking right now. I'm not.
Are
of the
you
same-
supposed to correct
I'm
men
not
when
in-
it comes to
I'm not
theology
going
or
to-
not?
We're not in a church.
I'm
and
sorry,
I am
are you supposed to
speaking-
correct
I am
men when it comes to
speaking her.
theology?
I am speaking to her.
Yeah, I
and
know,
you
I'm
can
speaking to
wait
you.
until I'm
And I'm
finished
speaking to you. No, you wait.
And then you can correct
No,
whatever
you
you
can
feel
wait.
like needs to be corrected.
No, I'm sorry.
So,
Are you supposed
anyway,
to
as
correct
I
men
was
on
saying,
theology?
that if they disagree and the wife feels very strongly in disagreement, in effect, they should hold off on the decision
Yeah,
being
that's all
made
bullshit. I wouldn't
until-
listen to anything.
Andrew,
Excuse
That's
me,
all false
excuse
gospel.
me,
Andrew, just let her
you're
finish.
being
Just let her
disrespectful.
finish.
I am being
And so then-
disrespectful. You're not supposed to
okay,
correct a
I
man on
don't-
theology.
I don't-
You're a woman
I
who's
am not-
supposedly a Christian. Stop correcting men on theology.
I am speaking to this young
I
lady
know what
here.
you're speaking to,
I'm not
and you're being
speaking to
corrected
you.
by a man
I
on
am not
theology.
in
Aren't you supposed to be a Christian and be silent?
No. Okay, I would say
No,
I'm,
you're not
I'm
supposed to be.
ignoring him, and I'm going to finish my thought, and that is that if a man is truly doing what the scripture says, then he is going to. Okay, yeah, he is going to listen to his wife's opinion. He's going to listen to her counsel, and he's going to take that to heart. And in effect, they shouldn't have a decision being made. It shouldn't be a dogmatic, you're doing this, it doesn't matter how you feel. That's not the way it goes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's see if we can't correct
Now,
some of this
with leadership-
nonsense that she just tried to fill your
with
head with. If she
leadership
ever
and
stops the
respect-
woman prattle of the Protestant
my
nonsense,
God.
let's see if we can correct some of
Oh,
this.
jeez.
Andrew,
So first, let's start with wives, submit yourself unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. Who is the Lord? Who is the Lord?
This is from marriage.
Oh,
scripture.
now suddenly,
He's talking.
cat's got
Okay,
your tongue?
It's your
You don't
turn
want to be
talk.
corrected
Go
by a
ahead.
man?
It's your turn to talk. Go ahead.
Yeah, so answer my question.
should've-
Why
you should've
submit
let me
yourself
move
unto
on.
your
No,
own
I'm
husbands
not.
as unto the
I'm not
Lord?
discussing
What
it
does
with
that
you.
mean?
Go ahead and explain to everybody. Explain to everybody your views.
move that right over there.
Wives, submit yourselves unto your husband as unto the Lord. What does that mean? You don't know? Suddenly, cat's got you don't know? Suddenly?
No, I know what I think. I'm letting you. I'm
What
giving
does that
you the
mean?
respect
Wives,
of
submit yourselves
letting
unto
you
your
speak.
husbands as you would unto the Lord. What does that mean? You don't know?
I do know. I'm not speaking.
Then tell
to
me
this.
what it
I'm
means. Yeah,
letting
you're not
you-
speaking to me
I'm
now.
letting you
Now suddenly,
explain
when your Christian
thoughts.
values are put up to correction
Yeah, she's being double disrespectful.
from a man, suddenly your cat's got your tongue.
She just doesn't feel like she
Andrew,
needs to
you're so
explain herself
offensive
to
and
you.
Andrew,
abrasive.
could you just
Very
go like
simple.
that?
No, I can't
There's
do
so
that.
many flakes
Now
on
back to
you, dude.
this. Back to this.
Andrew.
Can you explain what that means?
Look
Andrew,
at all these
you
flakes.
explain what it means.
Don't you dare, Andrew.
Oh my God, he's an animal.
It's not. Now it's on your mic. It was on
Andrew,
your shirt.
just you explain instead of asking us.
I don't have to do what he says.
I
It's
know.
so silly.
What does that mean? Wives, submit yourself unto your husband as unto the Lord. The problem is that you just got what's called a false gospel. It's why women shouldn't teach ever. She's teaching mutual submission. She's teaching mutual submission. There's nothing about mutual submission. Wives, submit yourself unto your husbands as unto the Lord. Who is the Lord? That is God. You're supposed to submit yourself unto your husbands as you would unto God. This is not mutual submission.
This is unproductive.
You should have let me move. You should have let me move it on. You should have let me move it on.
No one
I
cares.
told you.
Next question.
Hold
That
on.
was your
So
fault.
I got to move it on. Okay. So.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay.
Please don't.
Going to you. I'll get into your notes. I know you've had a lot to say. Serena, we'll finally wrap this up. Do you think you'll be better looking in 10 years? Or
Whoa! Oh my God!
We never got to answer that.
What is it? 2 hours later, and we're still.
wait, how's it? Why is that funny?
It's just 3 hours later.
She didn't answer. She didn't get to
never got
answer.
to
I know.
answer.
Hey, I got a good memory.
Okay, I'll answer straight to the point.
Yeah.
10 years? Sure. 41, kind of reaching it. 51, not so much. Metabolism
Okay.
slowing down.
Yeah.
Ankles, yes.
So wait,
Okay, there you go.
31, yes, better looking than now at 21. 41, maybe?
Maybe.
Okay. And then
Okay.
what about you? Better looking?
Better
64?
looking. No, of course not. But
then-
I'll still be beautiful.
Sure. Yeah, that's not what we're saying.
Yeah,
We're
but
not-
no, not better
Yeah.
looking.
You can
No, it
be-
goes.
You can still be
it's-
good looking.
life is life.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. And then
I
I'm
would
okay with
like
that.
I would like an answer to my question.
No,
or
thank
you can
you.
just say I refuse to answer the question. What do you think wives submit yourself unto your own husbands?
I'm
as
not
unto
speaking
the
to
Lord
that
means?
anymore.
she just said she's
I
not
already
speaking
said
to it, so
that
I do
you
have to
can
move it on.
explain.
I'm not going to talk to you anymore because you're correcting my theology.
I said what I said.
I'm going to
and
preach a
you
false
can say what
heretical
you think.
doctrine.
You can say what you think. You can't get me.
Well, I think you're a heretic, and I want you to
Okay,
answer
great.
to my question.
Oh my God.
Stop being a heretic and answer.
Heretic accusation.
No, I've got pretty hair though.
Oh, shit.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Woman preachers,
wait.
gay marriage, all this stuff.
Wait.
I would like you
Whatever.
to
All right,
actually
let's
answer.
not get into it.
Whatever. We're on the whatever show.
So,
She never answered the question either.
question though, were you better looking at 44 versus 54?
No.
So better
No,
looking
I think
when you were
I think I
younger.
was better looking younger.
Okay, got it.
But I think I peaked at around 30.
We did it, boys. We made it.
We did it.
I'm just gonna skip
Yes.
Oh, did I? Time permitting, we'll talk about, I guess, why it matters, because you wanted to know that. But I'll give you the quick rundown. Nick, pull up the hypergamy chart super quick. I'm going to do the 30-second version of this. Here is the 30-second version. Okay, this is hypergamy. And so on the left is whom men would happily partner with. On the right, whom women would happily partner with. So what ends up happening if you have a cohort of women who overestimate their physical attractiveness and their attractiveness in general in the dating marketplace, they're going to be chasing after men who are, not to be mean to these women, who are quite frankly out of their league. And so what ends up happening, especially with the hookup culture that we have, is women have sexual access to men who are out of their league. But you can't really say the same thing about men. Like if a man steps to a woman who's outside of his league, he's going to get an instant rejection. Like if I step to a really attractive girl, I'm getting an instant rejection. She's not going to consider me for even a casual hookup. Whereas men, if we encounter a woman who we deem as, and objectively, let's say objectively is deemed as less attractive than us, we'll still consider her for short-term sex, right? So what ends up happening is women of a certain attractiveness level can get sex from men outside of their league. What ends up happening is women will think that because I can get sex from this guy, he's X amount of attractive, that's now my league. But they'll never get commitment. This is where women just get continuously in these situationships. They never get commitment. All these fuck boys, they start to actually resent men. And so because of that, they'll actually look at men who are on their level or in their league as settling or below them, even though those are the men who are probably most likely to treat them well and give them commitment and monogamy. In addition to that, one of the major factors and differentials here is that, so as a guy, if I can sleep with a girl, there's a very high probability that I can get that girl into a long-term monogamous relationship. It's not clear to me if, as a woman, just because you can fuck a guy, you can get him into a relationship. So that's a major differential there. I'm not saying, like, look, some women engage in hookups and they have no intention of getting into a relationship. But the big thing here is, again, I'll just state it one more time. So as a guy, if I can sleep with a girl, very good chance I could get her into a relationship. But if you sleep with a guy, it's not a guarantee that you can get him into a relationship. And so for this reason, it's actually more important that women have a reasonable self-assessment of their own physical attractiveness in the dating marketplace. Otherwise, they're going to be chasing men who are, quite frankly, out of their league, and they're going to end up just either, jumping from guy to guy to guy, never getting commitment, constantly stuck in situationships. And then they're going to eventually, maybe down the road after they've had their fun in their 20s, they'll find a guy in their 30s and then settle with him. And it's probably not going to be a great relationship because she thinks she's settling. She could have done better. She's going to be pining over one or two or three guys in her 20s who are much more attractive.
This is like summary of Rollo Tomasi's book in 5 minutes of The Rational Male.
Fucked her better, whatever it may be. So that's why it matters.
Can I respond?
Sure.
So I would say that it would be more about your values when you equal up to a person, because wouldn't it have to do with, like, if this person values this, we don't agree on the same.
No. Only after only after all of the hypergamic traits are met do these considerations come into place, not before.
Values, then we're not gonna match up. So if I don't value something that ends up being a long-term thing, then I'm not gonna end up in that place with that person.
Stop the cat, man.
I think wouldn't it have to do with values at the end of the day?
So you're fucking men that don't you don't have the same values or whatever?
Yeah, if you're not in the same, if you don't have the same values, but they don't have the same values as you, it's not going to work out.
Or maybe people have, like, the wrong intentions going into it, or think they may have the same intentions, but after certain encounters, maybe it just changes.
Have you guys had the experience of you sleep with a guy and you really want him to be your boyfriend, but he says something along the lines of, I'm not ready yet. Or he strings you along for a couple months, continues to fuck you, and then it just kind of eventually fizzles away into nothing.
Yep.
Have you had that experience?
So what do you think that is? What does that attribute to then?
That's you having sex with men who aren't willing to commit to you.
Level. Yeah.
So what would that be though? Like wouldn't that be their values? Like your values,
idiots.
They're not equaling up.
Right, but what I'm saying
it's not values, it's value, as in SMP, as in bedroom fund market value.
Is that what that could be is that you're sleeping with men who are out of your league because you're attracted to them.
I think that's just one theory. I don't know if that's not.
That's just like your opinion, man.
That's not like a proven thing.
Who's more, I'll just ask you the question. If a guy can sleep with a girl, do you think he has an easier time getting her in a relationship than the reverse?
I would say that's probably true because a lot of women look more for relationships to begin with. So I think that's true in that sense. I think men, especially when they're younger, aren't necessarily looking for a relationship like that.
No, you're choosing
so I'd say,
men that aren't looking for relationships and then wondering why he won't commit to you.
I think it just would be different. It just would depend on what both of the values are. Like how they equal up.
Totally following. on the whole.
Does anyone else want to respond to that?
I'm not sure I'm
statement?
following on the values thing.
Okay.
So what's the argument, I guess?
Like, I don't think it's necessarily about.
Okay, here, let me ask it a different way. If you sleep with a guy, how confident are you that you can get him into a relationship if you sleep with him within the first 3 dates?
I don't even know if I wouldn't say anything type of confidence. I don't even know how to answer that question, because I think it's more like it's like deeper than that, right? Because then you don't know. Depends on how much we know each other. We don't know like what our values are, how they align.
Man,
I don't know how to answer that question.
Disingenuous, man.
Okay.
It's actually insane to me.
Well, so you're looking at it from the point of view of, would I date them or would they date me?
Extremely disingenuous, garbage.
Your question was, would they date me? Right?
Okay. Let's say, have you ever had like a one-night stand?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you think in a, actually, let me frame this a little differently. If you hook up with a guy on the second date, how confident are you that you can turn that second date hookup into a boyfriend?
I think what you're saying, though, is what each person wants. Sometimes people just want casual sex. Some people
yes, both
value.
people could want the same things, but
yeah, some people value
but what I'm
relationships.
saying is, like me as a guy, look, there's girls out there that just want to
like the
hook
probability.
Up, but okay. Here's the other thing that I forgot to mention. So, typically, in order for a woman to sleep with a guy, the guy needs to be at least physically attractive enough for her to be in a relationship with him. Whereas for a guy, we'll sleep with a girl who, just based on her looks, we would immediately disqualify for a relationship just based on her looks, but we'll still sleep with her.
So what is that attributed to, do you think?
There is no attribution.
What does that mean?
Wait, was that just like
why?
a statement, or was that like more? Because like I feel like
Is
yes,
this like a study
with what you're
or-
saying, like
Yeah.
Like
facts, true.
so guys, like if typically women will actually break a rule in the opposite direction. So in order for a woman to have a one night stand where she otherwise wouldn't, the guy has to be like really physically attractive. Whereas for a guy to have a one night stand with a woman, he's actually going to go the opposite way, where he will have sex with a girl who's less attractive than he would otherwise be in a long-term relationship with. Now, if he can get a one-night stand from a really hot girl, he'll do it, but men are willing to have casual sex down, whereas when women choose to have casual sex, it typically ends up being with men who they might not be able to get into a relationship, but they can get casual sex from him.
Man, it's like these girls are totally unable to answer a question, and it just makes it like unbelievably annoying to it makes it unbelievably annoying to listen to them talk constantly and just dodge and bob and weave and evade, and it like at a certain point it's pointless to even it's pointless. And so because it's pointless, we're just going to end the video there. Hit the like, hit the sub, hit all for notifications, drop me a donation. Well, these guys here that supposedly have dropped donations, actually all of them have bought my books, so let's just name them all here. Hunter M, Adrian R, Tom and Bobby, Dylan, Renaissance Press, Brian, Andrew, Alan, Armani, and Nicholas. Shoutouts to you. Most recent purchaser of both my books, which is The Strategist's Guide to Seduction and Quotes to Live By. And of course, we also have coaching services. You can see Nicholas here has gotten good results from coaching services. So that's where I offer them. And what's more, I also offer early access content on my Patreon. That's patreon.com/theheliosblog. Thank you so much for watching, guys, especially if you listen to the end. I really do appreciate it. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.